Hi folks, and welcome to the Brighton Jazz School podcast. This is episode 37, and you're here because you are dying to hear part 2 of the wonderful interview with Eric Reed, and luckily you are in the right place because that is coming up a bit later on. Before then, we're going to check out his album Ebop in Album of the Week, and it's a wonderful album. It's kind of my go-to CD when I'm really craving some hard bop. Great compositions, great playing, great feel. So yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about that album, playing some tracks from that. And as ever, you can head on over to brightonjazzschool.com/podcast to check out all the latest information of upcoming artists and, of course, the wonderful back catalogue that we have. I was checking it out the other day, actually. It's amazing, the guests that we've got on this show. And, of course, we're going out in 79 countries. Just check the metrics there. Which is absolutely mind-blowing. So thank you so much for supporting us, and please keep listening. Feel free to donate. We do have a donation button. If you're feeling extra generous after Christmas, that would be lovely. It will always be free, and we'll always provide the highest quality musicians, both locally to the Brighton area and internationally. In fact, we haven't done a local musician for quite some time, so that's something I want to do, and that's on the horizon in the very near future. So again, check out the website, and also we're on Facebook. I quite often post up there, and questions for the upcoming artists. That's a good place to kind of post your questions. So, and you get there by just searching for Brighton Jazz School podcast in the search bar, and you'll find us. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show. Grab yourself a drink, sit back and relax, and stay warm, because I'm in Thailand right now, and it is lovely and warm. But yeah, I'm sure it's a little bit cold in the UK. So wrap up warm. Grab yourself a nice hot drink, an Ovaltine, something a bit stronger if you wish, and enjoy the rest of the show. Hi folks, and welcome to Album of the Week. As I said, we're going to be checking out Eric Reed's album Ebop, which was released in 2004. It's got some wonderful young players on it. Marcus Printup on trumpet, Walter Blanning Jr. on saxophone, Rodney Whitaker on bass, and Rodney Green on drums. And most of the recording is originals. And we're going to check out the opening track, which is very, very soulful, really lively, and it's called Ain't Nothing Wrong With That. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. What more could you ask for? Impeccable compositions, great playing, and most of all, just that feel-good kind of factor. Great music, and I love it. I can listen to this stuff for hours and hours and hours. It just kind of, I don't know, makes the day better. So yeah, let's move on. We're going to play you the title track of this wonderful album, and this is called Ebop. Check this one out. Wonderful playing all round, and I hope you paid special attention to the drummer, Rodney Green, such a fantastic player. And did you hear those kind of unusual trades at the beginning of the saxophone solo? Really interesting stuff. I'm going to play you Eric Reed was good friends with the wonderful pianist Mulgrew Miller, and always spoke incredibly highly of him. And the next track is in dedication to Mulgrew Miller, and this one is entitled Groovy. groovy. It's really nice to hear Eric in the trio setting, and especially on a tune dedicated to the wonderful Mulgrew Miller, who we sadly lost not too long ago. But yeah, what a consummate pianist Eric is. You know, that kind of really showcases his prowess as a pianist, and wonderful touch, wonderful harmonic sense, swinging as ever, and yeah, wonderful. Just love it. Okay, I'm going to leave you now with the very end track, actually, and this one is great. Again, lively, and my go-to track if I'm feeling a little bit down in the dumps, and this is called Roller Coaster. Thanks for tuning in to Album of the Week, and we'll see you again next time.
To be fair, I do want to mention a lot of great young musicians I hear that really inspire me. Christian Sands, Aaron Deal, Ulysses Owens, McClinty Hunter, Desron Douglas, what's this other piano player? Sullivan Fortner, Emmett Cohen, Evan Sherman. All these guys are very talented, and they're also very different. They don't all sound the same.
Yeah.
You know, you can hear what tradition they're coming from, but they don't all sound as though they just came off the farm from Juilliard or just got out of North Texas State. They're on the scene, doing their thing, playing with other musicians, and they're respectful. You know, they have respect for the music. They have respect for older musicians. I had lunch with Aaron Deal a few weeks ago, and he said, you know, I'm really trying to just, keep a connection with my elders, like you, and I'm like, and I had to just blink my eyes for a second, like me. I said, oh yeah, I guess I am a little bit older than he is, but I don't consider myself so-called one of the elders. But I mean, I know where he's coming from,
sure,
because I've got elders. My elders are Kenny Barron and Cedar Walton. These guys are my elders, and Larry Willis. But I'm sure, and Herbie Hancock and McCoy Tyner, but I'm sure when they were my age, they probably didn't see themselves as elders either. Yeah. I'm kind of in between. I'm not a young cat, nor am I an elder, really. I'm right in the middle. I mean, I'm 43, so legitimately I'm middle-aged.
Sure.
But it's kind of like a weird place that I'm in because I don't really have a definite... I don't know exactly what my coordinates are on the scene, other than just being a cat who's out here, kind of in between both. I got, somebody like Emmett Cohen, who's 21 or 22 on one end, and then on the other end, there's Marion McPartland, who's 92 or something like that.
Yeah.
And here I am in the middle.
Sure.
So I got, I'm not too close to Marion, but I'm certainly headed in that direction, hopefully.
Yeah.
and then I got Emmett Cohen on my tail. You know what I'm saying? So it's a funny place to be. It's kind of a strange place to be because the so-called scene or the industry certainly doesn't know what to do with me.
Yeah.
And that's just a societal thing. That's a generational thing in terms of being middle-aged. It's like that in corporate America as well.
Sure.
You know, as soon as the gray hair starts to show up, all of a sudden, okay, where do we put them?
Sure.
Go ahead.
But you're established and well known enough, you know, among, you know, the public and also among musicians to kind of surely not worry too much about that, really.
Well, it's not that I'm worried. It's just that it's just a funny place to be in terms of the definition.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I don't really feel as though I have a definite position, so to speak. It's not an untenable position, or untenable. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's not an uncertain position. How about that?
Yeah.
It's not a position that I'm worried about. Certainly, I have been able to establish myself to some degree, but I think it's just a matter of I'm at the point now where I'm really trying to play my cards right, in the sense of what it is I want to do next.
Sure.
You know, what musicians I want to play with, what types of projects do I want to take on.
Yeah, yeah. How are you as a teacher? Because talking to you, I mean, you're making complete and utter sense, and you're coming across as being very articulate. I can imagine you being a really good teacher. Do you do much teaching?
I'm an excellent teacher. I do teach for periods. I have periods where I'll teach, and then I'll go for long periods where I don't.
Sure.
It really depends on what type of student I get.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the students that I wind up with really aren't that serious. A small percentage of them really are serious about information and trying to pursue the music. Aaron Deal was one of those students. I mean, he's so dedicated, and I had absolutely no problems out of him at all. And I'm not enthralled with him because he did what I told him. I just respect who he is as a musician and what he's trying to do and what he represents.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's committed to it. You see, this is the thing that's difficult to. You can't teach this. You can only speak on it with regard to your own experience.
Yeah.
Is the idea of being dedicated to an idea.
Sure.
Not dedicated to your career, not dedicated to gigging, but being dedicated to the idea of something greater than you.
Yeah.
Being dedicated to the music. And not just being, you know, committed to being out here and, you know, trying to win awards and trying to get public acceptance. I mean, it's not any of that.
Yeah.
It's being committed to the music. You know, you can't, like, for instance, in a marriage, you can't just be committed to the person. You have to be committed to the idea of what the two of you represent.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if the two of you believe in marriage, then you believe in this coming together and making something that's solid, having a foundation, regardless of who the person is.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you have to commit to the person, but you have to commit to something that's greater than the person.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to commit to the idea of what it is that we're committing to.
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not just committed to Buster because he called me to come out here and do these gigs. I'm committed to the music.
Yeah.
You know, I know his book. I've played his book for a while. So I'm committed to what Buster is committed to.
Yeah.
I'm not just committed to Buster. And that was my problem with Wynton. I wasn't committed to Wynton's music early on. You know, I wasn't even committed to him, let alone the music.
Yeah.
But I was committed to gigging.
Sure.
Which wasn't enough.
Yeah. I see what you mean, yeah. Who, I want to talk about, like, maybe a couple of people, you know, as piano players, you get asked this question all the time, I know, but if you can whittle it down, I know this is really hard, to someone...
Ahmad Jamal.
There you go. I knew you were going to say that.
Ahmad Jamal. Yeah. End of story.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that Ahmad Jamal is the greatest jazz pianist ever. I'm not saying he had the greatest concept ever. What I'm saying is, for me, what Ahmad Jamal represented is everything that I want to do.
Sure.
His openness, his sense of orchestration, his brazen interpretations of standards.
Yeah.
And if I had to say another person, it would be Thelonious Monk. So those two. Not in a negative way.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was more like, look, this is who I am. This is what I do.
Yeah.
If you like it, that's great. If you don't, well, there's some other guys out there for you. But this is what I do. But it's what I'm always saying. Integrity costs. And you look at how long it took Thelonious Monk to even get a recording deal or his first gig, and then he lost his cabaret card 2 or 3 times, and then he had suffered through 2 fires in his house, and just all the shit he had to go through of people saying his music was ugly, and I think it was Lenny Tristano who said that his music, that he played dumb. That he said Thelonious Monk's playing was dumb. It was either him or somebody in that particular, camp.
Yeah.
But I'm almost certain I read that it was Tristano. And then, you think from 47, his first recordings as a leader, up to, let's say, 1971. That's only about 20 years, 23, 24 years.
Yeah.
And he lived to be about 64, 65. So you look at what it cost him to maintain his integrity. I mean, the way he played, like you listen to that record, Bird and Diz, and it's killing from a standpoint of Monk, but it's not really working behind Bird and Diz.
Yeah.
They needed something a little more aggressive and interactive.
Yeah.
But Monk wasn't going to change what he was doing just because it was Bird and Diz.
Yeah.
It wasn't even his idea to be on the recording, but he wasn't going to turn the recording down.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Monk said, "This is what I do."
Yeah.
And fortunately, Orrin Keepnews had the good sense to record him, and Teo Macero, and who's the guy over Prestige, Weinstock, Bob Weinstock. So thank God they just let Monk be Monk. I mean, as if that was even an option. But it cost Monk a great deal to be who he was. It cost Bud Powell.
Yeah.
It cost Charlie Parker. It cost Bix Beiderbecke. All these guys paid heavy prices
for the art.
To express, not just for the art, but just to express themselves.
Yeah.
Forget about the art, just to be who they were.
Yeah, sure.
What it cost them to be individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the impact that it had on the rest of us was massive.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Bix Beiderbecke. Just the sense of melody and the sense of emotion and the pathos in his music. Miles Davis, a similar trumpet player, same thing. Just the absolute heartstrings that are being pulled at when these guys play.
Yeah.
Especially when they play ballads,
Yeah. So.
But there's a heavy price to pay for maintaining that kind of integrity. Yeah, sure, sell out the music instead. That's great. And then, say that it's all good. It's all great, really? So you're actually putting this on the same level as jazz and classical.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Knock yourself out. It's a lot of these so-called gurus in the music. We you listen to a lot of musicians of a certain generation talk, and they're real mystical, and they don't like to define things.
Yeah.
And they say, well, you can't really define it, and it's not this, and it shouldn't sound like this, and it shouldn't sound like that. That's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You just don't want to ruffle feathers, and you don't want to buy into the fact that your music sucks.
Yeah.
And that you've basically stopped creating, and you don't really give a shit anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Or maybe this is just, flashbacks from your LSD days. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 It's a funny thing, especially, in today's age where we have Facebook, and you see a lot I know you have as well. You see a lot of stuff on Facebook that's so negative about other musicians from fairly well respected musicians, and it's just a weird place to be. I can't really figure out what we're supposed to do with it other than post, I'm playing here or come and see my band. There seems to be a lot of, I mean, on the one hand, it's good because it's a platform to kind of express yourself, through talking to people.
Mm-hmm. But you see, everybody doesn't need that platform.
Exactly.
All opinions are not necessary to be heard, especially from the ignorant.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I stay on my own wall. I don't even go to the news feed.
Sure.
Because it's so much information and so many random thoughts from people I don't even know.
Yeah, right.
Never. It's as if you don't have to try to read someone's mind. They'll put it right on Facebook.
Yeah, sure.
Or they'll tweet it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, okay, I'm leaving Facebook. Every other month, I'm getting ready to leave Facebook. But this shit is very addictive.
Yeah.
But if I leave Facebook, then I leave people like you. I leave, who else is on Facebook or who has some great posts? Michael Don,
Yeah.
And Facebook has allowed me to keep in contact with musicians who I wouldn't normally see.
Sure.
Or keep in contact with. Steve Meyerson, all these guys who are active on Facebook like I am, Jacques Lejour out of L.A., this guitar player. And I wouldn't be this closely in contact with a lot of those guys if it wasn't for social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to a certain degree, I have to just figure out how to silence all those voices or just unfriend these people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as you say, everything comes at a price, right? So.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. So Eric, Eric Reed, the band leader, what's happening in the near future with you as a leader?
Well, after I finish with Buster Williams, I'm going to be going on to France to work with my band, and then I'm going back to New York to. I'm doing the general gamut of gigs, working with different people, some sideman work, more leader work, a nice balance.
Yeah.
I'm going into the studio in September. And I'm also going to be recording live as well with Gregory Hutchinson. I haven't worked with Gregory in years. I want to say the last date was probably Manhattan Melodies.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So that was, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And Seamus Blake's going to be on the project, and bassist Ben Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, more of the same stuff. But I'm trying to do more writing.
Right.
And I would like to put a band together, but I have no idea who I want to play with.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know.
Sure.
I like playing with different musicians a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're thinking of doing a solo piano project as well?
A solo project?
Yeah, solo piano.
I have a solo project coming out for Willie Jones' label.
Yeah.
And that's coming out in September.
Great.
He was a huge fan of Keith Jarrett's the Melody at Night with You.
Yeah.
Which I think Keith did in his living room or something like that, or his studio.
Yeah.
And so he wanted me to make a project similar to that, except using gospel tunes and spirituals.
Oh,
and
great.
hymns.
Could you offer some advice or a tip that's directly linked to becoming a better musician, as an improviser, as a jazz musician? Doesn't have to be technical, but a piece of advice that you wish you have had when you were kind of young and growing, kind of, coming up in the music.
It was kind of something that you alluded to earlier about hearing honesty in my music. And that's really about the best piece of advice that I can give to any young musician,
Sure.
is to be honest in whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Even if you're coming out of a bag, for instance, if you're working with somebody who's playing bebop and you want to go into some Bud Powell, there's an honest way to approach that. don't think about trying to be Bud Powell or cloning him, but really get into the essence of what that is.
Yeah.
The essence of Bud Powell is this sense of freedom that he played with, the feel, the popping rhythms, and just that brilliant language that he used.
Yeah.
You know, if you're heavily influenced by Bud Powell, there's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead and be the most honest interpretation of that you can be.
Yeah.
Now, that kind of goes against the whole idea of being creative and being original or whatever. But, you know, I listen to somebody like Barry Harris, and people can say a lot of things about Barry Harris. Barry Harris is not some Bud Powell clone.
Absolutely.
He's a student of Bud Powell.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Benny Green wasn't a Oscar Peterson or Phineas Newborn clone.
Yeah.
He was a student of that, and he really embodies that when he plays.
Yeah, yeah.
Mulgrew Miller was a student of Oscar Peterson, same thing. And you could hear the direct influence in the music.
Yeah.
So nobody sets out to be a clone. Very few people actually say, I'm going to be a clone of Art Tatum. I'm going to be a clone of Cedar Walton. You just listen to something for so long and it hits you in such a way, the next thing you know, you realize when you're playing, you've digested a lot of what they've done.
Yeah.
You know? My thing is, again, just be honest about it. If you want to, you know, mix hip-hop and jazz, then recognize that you probably wouldn't be doing that if there was no money involved. People people take after guys like, you know, Robert Glasper and stuff like that. And I think what they see is they see the accessibility to the audience. They see how the audience responds.
Yeah.
They see, you know, all the awards that follow, but very little musical progress. You know. So I say pursue honesty.
Yeah.
Whatever music or style you decide to play, just be honest about it.
Sure. That's great. That's great. And the more of these interviews I do, you know, the more this is coming across in different ways, but it's kind of all veering to the same kind of thing, you know. And it's all, and the people who I interview, selfishly, are people that I love to listen to, you know, and people that I really want to talk to, you know. And I'm not saying they're all smooth and they're all kind of great. You know, they say don't meet some of your idols, right? Well, that's been true, but fortunately not in this case.
Okay, good.
It's been a pleasure to talk to you. And
wonderful.
Where can people? You've got a website.
EricReed.net is my website.
Great. So people can go there.
Yeah, I keep it fairly current.
Sure.
And I also have a blog. It's reedscreeds.wordpress.com.
Okay. Is there a link to that on your website?
You know, I don't remember. I'm not sure I set one up. I tried. You know what? I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
there probably isn't, because I have to just contact my web designer.
Yeah.
But they can go right to the site for the blog.
Sure. Okay, that's great. We'll put all these links on the podcast page as well. So
awesome.
Yeah. Great. Well, yeah. Thanks for giving up your time, Eric. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, Wayne, it's my absolute pleasure. There's a lot of stuff that I've been thinking about over the past couple of weeks, and I really haven't had an opportunity to discuss it with anybody except, you know, a dear friend of mine I know who's a minister. He's a preacher.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to talk to him long. It was actually like right before I came on this trip. And he really helped to talk me off the ledge, so to speak. Talk me through a lot of things that I was feeling and just personal and emotional traumas that I had been experiencing. Just, you know, various things that I had gone through. So talking to him kind of warmed me up for being able to talk to you, because, of course, I wouldn't be using this potty mouth with him. Although he's probably going to hear this podcast and call me and be like, Brother Ree, we all right? But, you know, the thing about it is, what I appreciate from being able to do this podcast with you is that I've been able to unleash. And I'm certain that when people hear this, they're going to say, okay, he obviously had a lot on his mind. and hopefully I won't be judged just by some of the words that I used, but they'll listen to the content.
Absolutely.
Of the information, and
yeah.
try to move, dig deeper into what I'm actually trying to say. That's what these things are about.
Absolutely. I mean, this whole podcast series is exactly about that. Is connecting the jazz community, because let's face it, we need all the help we can get with,
definitely.
And there's no room in my book for, this kind of negativity, and all the things that you have said have come out of a really positive place, and, it's just awesome. I mean, again, not all the interviews have been like that. There's been some people we've had on who have just used it as a way to get a particular message out, or and that's kind of cool as well. I'm just I'm here as the medium, really, to kind of make it.
You're the medium and the conduit.
Yeah, but also we're very much viewing it as a really important historical document of words of wisdom from the best people in the business. I'm about to interview Calvin Newborn, Phineas's brother.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. So I can't thank you enough for being on, and on behalf of all the piano players out there, we just really respect and love what you're doing, and we look forward to your albums coming out. And thank you for giving us the music.
Wayne, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. You have a great day, okay?
Cheers. Thanks, Eric.
Okay, take care.
See you soon.
Bye.
Well, folks, it is coming towards that time in the show that I have to start to wrap things up and say my thank yous and say my goodbyes. First of all, big thank you as ever for you for tuning in and writing in and being in contact and just generally giving me feedback about the podcast. It would be terrible if I did these things and heard nothing from people. So please do write in. It does keep me going, and I love doing these interviews. I'm getting to talk to my heroes, people that I love and respect, and I'm learning so much by talking to them, and it's a wonderful opportunity to share this with you. So thank you. It keeps it all going. Thank you again to Eric Reed for giving so much time and for being so honest with us. It's really refreshing, and really appreciate it. So we always look forward to your upcoming albums. So check out ericreed.net to stay in contact and to know what's going on. So we've got the wonderful Ron Carter coming up in next month's show, so don't miss that. Thank you again to Mike Guest for putting the show together. You do a masterful job each month, and as in this case, 2 a month. So I really appreciate all the hard work. It really would not be possible without you. So thank you very much. And that's about it for today. I'm going to leave you with a track from another album that I really love of Eric's called Here, and this was released on Max Jazz label, and this tune is actually a composition by the great John Coltrane, and it's the one that is notoriously difficult. It's called 26-2. It's got very fast moving chord changes, so check out how Eric negotiates this, and I think you'll agree that he is one of the great pianists of our time. So thank you very much for joining us. This is your host, Wayne McConnell, signing out.